Hello everyone, I am Mr. Rodriguez of Idea South Flores, and today's video we will be covering the music theory portion of knowledge. Now, if you were in person with me, you probably already got this. This is the one entitled Just Music Theory, and this is the one that has the two little music staffs in the middle, then it has all these notes solfeggios on the side, and then also these Roman numerals up here. Okay, so this is going to be actually a video, a little under 5-minute video that is just going to explain everything kind of in a little bit full detail for any of the beginners or even intermediates that still need a little bit more help with it. They can always come back to this video and watch it rather than me always constantly teaching it. So now let's go into this first, the very music basics for some of the beginners. So for some of the beginners, we need y'all to first understand and try to connect parallels between many of the things that is music and what y'all already have experienced in school. So what I like to do is first connect the alphabet, the basic alphabet, to the music. Okay, so in the alphabet, we start with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so on, right? Now, in music, we're not going to go all up the whole alphabet. We actually stop at G. So we go from A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Then after G, it repeats back to A. Okay. Now, if you were to listen to the scale, this is technically a minor scale. Right? So it sounds a little bit more sad versus that of a major scale. And that's the reason why I put major and minor up on the top left corner of the page, because that's just showing the difference between a major, which is happy, versus minor, which is sad. Okay, so that's just the difference between the two up there. So if you're not really any of an armonía player, you don't really have to worry about any major or minor other than that it's just sad or happy. Okay, now for the middle part of this portion, we're going to actually look at right here. Now this is two musical staffs that I put. The top one is the higher one, which is the treble, and then this one on the bottom is the bass clef, which is the low one. So the very basic that I can give you for this would be just bass equals low notes. Treble means the higher notes, and then higher than that, then higher than that, and then higher than that. Okay, so that's all I would want you to understand from the chord progression side and the middle of that page. That's all it's really showing you. From there, we are now going to go into the specific notes and how you would actually read and climb them. And that is where we're going to start off with the note solfeggios, which is actually on this side. Okay, so this is going to be on the right hand corner of y'all's page. And now, instead of starting on the alphabet with music on A, we're actually going to start on C. The reason why C is because actually in the circle of fifths, C has no sharps or flats. It's a natural key, which means, in simpler terms, if I were to play all the keys, just the white keys on the piano, I can be able just to play a whole C scale, meaning and that is a C scale. That's the reason why we don't start on A in music, because if we were to start on A, it would have much of a more sad sounding scale. Versus that of starting on C, which you don't have to worry about having to press any of the black keys. It's simply just pressing down all the white keys, and it produces a pretty major, which is a happy scale. Right? So that's the reason why we usually tend to, instead of in English starting on A in the alphabet, in music we usually start on C. Okay? So now let's just go from there and start building up the blocks. So now we're going to start first with the key of C, which the note solfeggio is actually do. Then just like you go higher in the alphabet, well, you go higher in music. And that's the reason why, as you see, the C starts right here. Then D, it's not under it, it's above it, meaning it's going to be higher to D. Then from there, we go on to E, which is once again higher in the alphabet, also higher in music. So if we were to play the first three notes, C, D, E, we'd already be able to play some music with just those three notes. From there, if I were to play all the notes on the white or the white keys of the keyboard, you're going to see that I'm going to play this entire scale starting from C to C without having to press any of the black keys. So once again, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, then repeat C. Okay. Now, you might be wondering, well, why are there two notes that are the same? C and C are the same and they repeat. The reason why is because in a scale, we need to be able to resolve something, meaning that when we start on something, you want to end it. So in music terms, we like to usually start on the key, which in this case is C, and we are going to want to end on C. Now, the difference between them is just that they're an octave apart. So if you want to get into more English terms, octave, meaning octopus, 8. So that means that there's 8 intervals that are in between them. So you have the first interval from C to D, which is 1. Then C to E, which is 2. Then C to F, 3. Then C to G, 4. Then C to 5. Then C to B, 6. Then C to C. That's 7 notes. But technically, if we were to start on C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. It's not seven technically intervals we're playing, but it's 7 notes. But you're repeating that first note, and that's what makes the 8th, the octave. Okay. Now that we got the top part already figured out, so the chord progressions major versus minor. Major, happy. Minor, sad. Then we know the difference between the treble and bass clef. So let's do a treble C scale. Now let's do a bass C scale. Okay, they're both a C scale. One is just high, the treble, and one is just low, the bass. And then once again, now we're able to identify all the notes. Now these notes are always going to be within these. C is always going to be right under the bar line with its own little line through it. D is always going to be right under all the line staffs. E is going to be the first one actually that starts on the line. F is going to be the first one that it becomes in the first space. Then from there, the G takes the second line of the musical staff. Then from there, we go higher now to the next space, which is A. Then once again, higher to B, which is now on the line. And then end on C, which is now in a space. And what you notice about it is they're taking turns going from line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space. But it's gradually getting higher, or in bass terms, going lower. Okay, so it just depends on what the music says and if you're going to go up in octave or down in octave. And that's what we'll see. Now that we already connected all those together, now let's move on to the next part.